We're here with Thomas. Thomas, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, thanks for the email. Appreciate being here.
Of course. And we're recording in this really nice conference room here on campus. I've been nothing but impressed with campus so far. Yesterday, I got a chance to get over to, do they call it the technology services? What do they call the building that your world is located?
My lab, I guess, my lecture area is in the Brockman Center. In the Brockman Center, you're going to find, we got computer labs, 3D printers, our plumbing technology program.
Yeah.
The electronics program is in there, our electricians. The dean of our College of Technical Science, he's in there, easy to find. Right across from us is the ATC building, great big auditorium. All of our mechanics are in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's impressive.
There's a lot to that little area that people don't think about. It's just a big brick building from the outside, but there's hundreds of kids in there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's fun because you're walking through campus as I did a tour yesterday, and you go through the library, and like, oh yeah, this feels like a college campus. Yeah. Beautiful library, really nice places to sit. There's like a couple faux fireplaces, or actually I think there was real fire coming. And then you walk out, and it's not just your average academic hall. There's all these technology programs going on. There's machinery, there's giant engines, there's John Deere tractors, there's plumbing technology, which we want to talk about today. So that is the program that you are teaching in. For our listeners who are out there and they're checking out 100 different schools, there's so many out there. What would you say is unique about the plumbing technology program? And maybe before you answer that one, I'm going to back up. I like to go out of chronological order a little bit.
Oh yeah, dude, same. We're good.
Talk to us a little bit about how you got involved in the plumbing program, even from the time when you were deciding on a school yourself.
Okay, so I'm gonna back up slightly also.
Yeah.
I graduated high school. Honestly, didn't want to do the college route right away. I was like, I'm going to go to work. I was going to be a carpenter. I was dead set on it because when you're 18, you know exactly what life's about. So I was on a job site for maybe a month during the summer, and I'm watching these plumbers come in, and everything they do, they're getting in my way, and I'm fixing what they're doing. My job's harder because what they're doing, and I'm like, well, what do you get? I hate money. I hate money, but what are you getting paid for this? I'm 18, 17.
Yeah.
Well, like $20 an hour. And I went, I think I'm going to go be a plumber.
That doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah.
As a 17-year-old kid, you're like, let's learn more about that.
Living in mom's basement, $20 sounded pretty
right.
sweet. So I knew Northern had a plumbing and electrical program. I'm from Havre, so I've obviously heard about it. And to be honest, I didn't want to be a plumber. Plumbers have the stigma of plumber things,
Sure.
So I was going to be an electrician. I said, well, I'm going to, same pay scale, same everything. So I eventually said, I'm afraid of heights. I said, electricians are on ladders. Plumbers are in crawl spaces or on their knees under sinks. I'm going to go be a plumber because I'm terrified of heights. So I signed up for plumbing school. Lauren Schlofelt, I got to give mad credit to for building this program up from what it was. Bill Jellison and Bob Nault started this program in the early 2000s, and Lauren kind of took it from, they moved on, and Lauren moved in here and did a great job running it, and he was my teacher, got me a job. And my very first day on the job site, I was 25 feet up in a scissor lift. Like not even like a day break or like
crawl spaces, all the not the case.
Literally the first day, you needed a spatula to get me off the scissor lift when we got down. I just thought I could have been an electrician. It's day one. I could still go back to school. I can change
where's my advisor?
Yeah. And it took a couple days to get used to plumbing and what a job site is. But I look back at what Lauren had taught me in school, and he filled me in pretty quick that the ladder thing was a myth that I had put into my own head.
Yeah, I would have definitely thought, okay, I'm afraid of height. Plumbing is for me.
Yeah.
That's perfect. But
I'm not going to get shocked.
But not the case.
I'm not on a ladder. I'm no longer afraid of heights.
Yeah.
I'm just to sell plumbing a little bit here.
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old and I'm a master plumber. So the plumbing field is something that is, across the nation needed. This is a nationwide stat. There's 3 plumbers retiring for every 1 plumber that's getting their journeyman's license.
Oh, wow.
So there's a gap, and it's going to be huge, and it's going to be really heartfelt when the baby boomers, the 60-year-old guys right now, and honestly 5 to 10 years are going to retire. Who's going to be stepping up? And that's where our program, I think, has a great opportunity to lead the way in producing already skilled apprentices that are closer to their journeyman license, rather than hiring that me at 18 as an apprentice. We already give them basic information. They understand layouts, they understand job sites, and we can just kind of jumpstart them a little bit. If that shortcut, it's not a shortcut, but we pile a lot of information in that they can use moving forward. So
yeah, because maybe a common misconception, or maybe one that just I have, is, well, you could go to school for this, or you could just learn it on your own and do an apprenticeship right out of the gate. But that doesn't sound like the case. Is that you do want to go through the channels of, okay, if I want to get into a trade like plumbing, because there is this massive
hole.
Yeah, right. Massive gap in, like, hey, need like workers. What's the path that you would recommend?
So I'm a little Jekyll and Hyde on that. I really am. School is not for everybody. And there's some people that are ready. In my opinion, and what my sell to a student that's looking at my plumbing program, that's 18, 17, lived with mom and dad, wants to go right to work, stay home. College is fun. I mean, when you hear that, you're thinking of the bad college fun. We have activities on campus. There's intramural basketball every Tuesday. They got volleyball, basketball. Ultimate Frisbee apparently is a thing that's taken off in the gym right now.
Yeah, there's bowling alleys on campus. Like, how does that work?
So it's fun. And I really think the campus feel, the getting away from mom and dad, that slice of independence, if you will, is very good. To it kind of that brings a little bit of maturity with it, that you're on your own. And every's permanent term. Most people do that first week of college. Mom's not here to tell me to do my homework. Dad's not getting on me about getting to class. And I think that's a good growing tool, because until you make that mistake, until you learn from something that you did, your dad can tell you all he wants to make sure you go to class. Until you skip a class because you were up playing video games or whatever college kids do, right? You're not gonna know why your dad said that. You don't know what you don't know till you know, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that college feel, that my class, I have a student from Oregon. I have blue collar kids. I have kids that took plumbing honestly just to come to college. They didn't know what they wanted to do. Somebody might have told them it was an easy program or a fulfilling program as far as you're going to get a job when you leave here. And they all hang out. They're in here in the library or Morgan Hall doing their homework together. I didn't do that when I was in college because I lived here. And I loved hearing their stories. Like when they're talking, they're like, oh, we had a group. I'll get 20 assignments submitted in one night.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that's weird. And they go, yeah, we all got together and did our homework together.
We all did it. We're here on campus. That's amazing.
And it's a cool, I still remember almost everybody that I went to school with. I think we have, including myself, 5 master plumbers that were in my group, and then the rest are all journeymen. There's always a couple that decided to do something later in life, but the guys that really jumped at it really just owned it.
So you're a master plumber. Are you also then, you're teaching, which is a huge job. Is that your full-time job, or do you also do job?
I used to want to do that. You start, I'm going to teach. My class is from 9 to 11. Then I'm going to go put in a water heater or whatever.
Sure.
I learned the school is it's time consuming as an instructor.
Yeah.
And the main reason why I don't is because of my students, actually. Whether they know it or not, I like seeing kids in my class when I'm not in class. I like seeing them during the COVID shutdown, which we don't want to ever talk anymore. The sub would sometimes be shut down if there was an outbreak or random reasons. I loved seeing that the students that were in my program felt comfortable they would eat in my classroom. They'd obviously, it wasn't full, but there was 4 or 5 in there. That just made me, I try to build a relation. I want them to like it here.
It wasn't just, I'm going to come on campus at 8:45 and leave at 11:10 and that MSU-Northern's in the rear view. It's, you're part of the community here.
Yeah. And getting this call was kind of cool. And I think part of it is from that.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do your job and go home. I'm not that type of person, I guess. I like being here. You miss this is cool. Never done a podcast before.
Right.
So I like being available, I guess.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Calls on the weekends, calls at night. Hey, I can't figure out number 6. And usually if I don't know the answer, I have the books at home. I don't mind going through it with them. I'm maybe a little too hands-on. Some people have told me that I'm like a spoon feeder.
Like don't give them the answer.
Yeah, I'm not giving answers, but I think that's my personality. Is I'm outgoing. I like that personal touch to teaching.
For someone that doesn't know what to expect, okay, I'm interested in a trade. I'm deciding between electrician or plumbing, but walk through the first year in the plumbing program, or I know that's probably a lot, but maybe an average class. Am I heads down in a textbook? Am I pulling apart piping? What am I doing?
So the first day in class, we're soldering pipe and we're gluing pipe.
Wow.
Literally the first day. What I do is we kind of front load everything. So I want you to get a torch in your hand. I want you to solder some pipe. I want you to glue pipe. We might not even have any kind of layout. I might just say, cut a pipe, put it together. It's going to look like a worm's nest, but that's what we're dealing with. I just want you to know kind of the tools that we're going to use, the fittings, sizes a little bit, and then we backtrack. Then we go, okay, you know how to put the pipe together. Now let's make it look nice. Now let's put it to purpose, I guess is a good way to put it.
Wow, that seems intimidating. If you'd never have lifted up one of those tools and you're listening, you might be thinking, oh, this isn't for me. But you get students that have never soldered a pipe before in that first day.
When I was in school, there was a kid, and he could not run a drill at all. He was also the kid that the second semester had all of his books done on the second day of school.
Oh, wow.
Very smart, not super mechanically inclined. By the time he was out of here, he knew how to run every tool, honestly, in the first 2 weeks.
Wow. And
going back to that personal relationships, you can tell there's deer in the headlight looks, and they're panicking.
Right.
You don't single anybody out because you know that they might be showing that fear a little bit, but there's probably 10 other people that can hide that are thinking the same thing. So you stop. You go, all right, you run it yourself. This is a loud tool. It's kind of heavy, kind of awkward. You take a step back. I'm not a lesson plan teacher, and maybe someday that's going to come back to bite me. I'm not a super structured instructor. If you look at your lessons plan and say, this week we're doing this, and then we're doing this, and then we're doing this, you might lose a third of your kids somewhere in there.
And then
they're done.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I appreciate honesty as far as my students are concerned to stop me, and I encourage them. I'll go off on a rant and be like, okay, what did I just do? Like, who lost? Who's lost? And you're in college, right? So you're thinking, I don't want to tell them.
I'm not going to raise my hand.
I don't want everybody to know. So I'll stop myself and go back because I think you can tell when somebody's glossing over. And I will go back and go back and go back because I don't want to leave anybody behind.
Yeah.
I like how kind of sporadic my class is, I guess, if what I could say. And we start there, we put it to purpose, and then we go back and do it again sometimes just to see if you can do it better now.
Right. And remind it, okay, yep, we covered this, and let's just review that real quick. Yeah, I think that's a really great way to go about it because you'll be off course so fast. You say, okay, by February we'll be here, by March we'll be here. You just never do know. And the open lab too, I would imagine that students who want to come in and spend some extra time on some tools, or it's not just from that 9 to 11 time, that they can come in and tinker with different tools, different projects anytime. Is that accurate?
That's incredibly accurate. And I really enjoy that. That means that to me, you're engaged.
Right.
You are engaged as a student. I would never tell somebody that's like, hey, can I come back at 11? No, I'd say, yeah, I'm going to go to the sub, get some lunch. Shout out to Linda in the sub because breakfast burritos are super good.
Linda in the sub. Podcast shout out.
Everybody in the sub, but every time. Linda made breakfast burritos today.
Good shout out.
Yeah, they're pretty lit, as the kids say.
We'll have to get Linda on the podcast.
Yeah,
Linda, we've gotten so many rave reviews about the sub. I think of the 5 guests we've interviewed thus far, 4 have mentioned the sub. Not Linda, but the sub as a really cool place to hang out. So this is real. This is not just
this is a recurring theme.
It's a recurring theme. Yeah, we'll have to do a montage of sub mentions.
Yeah, they'll come in at 10. Classes usually in my class are 9 to 11, and they'll say, "Can I hang out till lunch and just finish up my project?" That to me is another one. When you want to just stay and keep working on your thing, it's not just to get it done; it's so you can move on to the next one. And it's not a grading thing. I grade on what you can do in the lab, not how fast you get it done. So if you get it done really fast and it doesn't look super good or it's not practical, it's not going to function, your grade's going to reflect that. And the students know that too. So it's taking a little pride in what you're doing is something that I push really hard. If you don't like it, the person you're selling it to isn't going to like it. The person you're working for isn't going to like it. So
right.
We almost rate each other's a little bit. And sometimes we'll switch it up. So if you're working on your module, we call them, and after about 2 weeks, you and I are in the same level, same pace, I'll actually switch the groups up because you could have 9 plumbers work on the same house and it would get done 9 different ways.
Oh, wow.
So I like to show the students that the final product is the exact same. Everything's going to run downhill. Everything looks nice, but they did it different than you because humans, all of us, we get in one-track minds. It has to be this way. It has to be this way. Plumbing is not. We have some codes we have to adhere to, but the way you run a house and the way I run a house are going to be completely
different.
Oh,
that's interesting.
And we're both right.
Yeah.
There's no arguing. I love that. There's old school bosses that it's their way or the highway.
It's kind of a puzzle, and yeah.
You get to put it together. You get to make it.
That's cool.
You can't put it together wrong. Yeah. You got some codes.
You could, right. There is codes for a reason.
There's an option to put it together wrong, but that's why you're here.
Yeah. Let's zoom out and talk about Havre.
Okay.
I know Havre's near and dear to your heart. Born and raised here, go to school here, work here, raising a family here. Awesome. There's a lot of places to go to school.
Yep.
There's fewer places to go and study plumbing and going through a plumbing technology program, but there's other options. So what is it about this place that makes it unique in your mind?
So the first thing on unique, if we're going to talk plumbing, we're the only plumbing program in the state. So if you want to study plumbing, we're your only option, but I don't mean that in a way that I'm not putting everything into it. Just because I'm the only option, I'm the best option. I'm the best option because I want you to go to a job. I want the next person to say, man, Northern is great. I want to pick up kids from Northern. We have companies that only hire Northern grads.
Wow.
So I've been here 2 years. So that's a huge shout out to Lauren more than myself. But that perfection in our program is still going.
Yeah.
So on the Havre note, I was born in 1991 here in town. I never left. My wife from Havre never left. So some people say I don't know any better, and I'm okay with that. Havre is a tight knit community, and you know your neighbor. You know their schedule. It seems weird, and someday that's gonna save you. Someday they're gonna say, man, I have not seen Thomas drive by in a while. I wonder if he's okay. Somebody will reach out to you if they notice that you're off. College is hard. College is stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird time to be a human. And having that backing, having that support from your neighbor that you don't know, but you know, is something really cool. People will call, and I'm sure this is every college, but people call the school, they call the athletic director talking about, do you have a student that could help me move? You know, the one thing I think is different is people in Havre don't take that for granted. It's not just you're paying this kid $20 and he's going to move your fridge. It's like, what's your name? What program are you in?
Yeah.
I get calls from people saying, I met this person from your program and he's a great student. I care more personally about that. To me, like Havre, oh man, I'm gonna go off here. I'm trying not to. Havre has it. It's kind of it's an old slogan, I think, now, but you don't know what it is. And it's that punchline can go a million different ways until you're here. Once you're here and you meet the people and you see the same people at the sporting events. The people at Northern basketball games are at high school basketball games. They're at my 5-year-old kid's soccer game. They're at the hockey rink watching hockey. They are everywhere. And that might be something somebody doesn't want. But for the people that like tight-knit, like comfort, that's a sell. That's a huge sell for Havre that I don't think people talk about enough. We advertise what we have, and that's for good reason. We have Fresno Fishery, if you're a fisherman, 20 minutes away. If you like to water ski, wakeboard, you can do that on there as well. We got Bear Paw Ski Bowl, 30 minutes away. Kind of a weird summer, winter, so we don't get a ski yet.
Right.
But I think they get a discount if they're a college student out there. On your way to the ski hill, you're going to drive through the Bear Paws. Amazing place to camp. If you want to live in Havre between campuses or between school years, camping's open. There's hiking trails.
Yeah, amazing.
And people at Northern have been instrumental in that because we want to sell that to our kids, our students. We want them to know it's there.
Yeah.
So people here have made it better.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable how close that mountain range is to Havre, and yet a lot of people will drive right through on their way to Glacier, but it's right here. We won't talk too much about it because I know you said, hey, don't tell too many people, but it's a pretty remarkable place.
When you're here, it's great. Just don't tell your friends.
No. Right. Don't put it on a podcast is what you're saying?
Yeah. No, put it on a podcast. But
okay, cool.
It's and in Havre, that's always been a thing that I've heard my whole life is there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do here. And my reply always is if you go anywhere with that kind of mentality and that outlook, you're not going to find anything to do. Right. If you look for things to do in Havre, and you don't got to look that hard, there is a ton of things off campus to do as well. There are groups in this town, and people associate groups like the Lions Club and the Elks Club as old people clubs. I'm 18. What do I want to go get involved with Lions Club? If you go to 3 meetings just to watch what a Lions Club does on a night, it's amazing.
Really?
those groups love youth participation. I'm not saying youth as under 18. I'm college age kids. That's our future. You guys are our future.
Right.
And in Havre, we want you in those groups. The Optimist Club, we want as many people as we can get. Obviously, I'm not in them, to be honest, but they want volunteers.
Right.
Here in Havre, every group is reaching out to the college. We want you. We don't want you to hang out in your dorm all day. Come see us. Everywhere here is open.
That's good advice for any college student. Hey, you got to get out there. But in Havre, especially, there is so much. People think, oh, well, you've got to stay on campus to find things to do. There's a lot in town. It seems like even outside of town, like we just talked about.
Yep. And
it's a special place.
Yeah,
it's a special place. The folks that I've talked to that are from here and who spent time in college here, it seems like a very special place. Something you could sort of have to visit to experience.
I probably just sound like, oh, this guy's just trying to sell his place, and it sounds like that, and it really does, but that you can't know Havre until you've been to Havre.
Yeah. And
we talked before we started talking about Havre might not be for everybody. I've heard Havre-Arctica, just Antarctica, Havre-Beria, Siberia, tons of puns. We get kind of cold.
It's a little cold. Put a jacket on, right?
I'm not gonna lie about the cold. That's here to stay. It's what it is. But you can always put a coat on. You just said it.
You can put a coat on.
Layer up.
Right.
It's a small campus. It's not that far of a walk, I promise.
No, it's pretty manageable.
The heat works.
Right.
With that, it's all we're I don't want to say we're tougher because that's not what I'm trying to say, but we're bred slightly different here. And I've had people that I went to college with that I've met in my life that came to campus here, and they were freshmen. They want to go home. They want to go to Bozeman. They want to go to bigger cities and live this stuff out. They're here for 2 or 3 years, and they don't want to leave. And that's like, I try to tell that to my students. I try to tell that to other faculty, people I meet, potential students.
Yeah.
And again, it sounds like a sales. He's lying. They don't want to leave. They are part of this community now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Northern and Beyond. If you have any questions about getting started at MSU-Northern, feel free to contact our admissions office by visiting msun.edu. You can talk with guests, professors, and schedule your campus visit. We know the college search process can be complicated. We're here to provide clarity. So come visit our campus, talk with our team, and experience the remarkable programs happening on Montana's Highline.